You're such an asshole.
Okay, Cappy's about to drop a bomb on the intelligence community. I don't mean the CIA and FBI and NSA. I mean the psychological subcommunity where they study intelligence. About to drop a bomb on you. I'm gonna break it down. That's what the kids. That's what the youth say. I'm about to break it down for y'all. That's the level Cappy's gonna go and drop a bomb down now on this. Anonymous writes, Aaron, I'd like you to analyze my IQ score. I took the Queendom test like recommended. I'll send the pictures of the score. Okay. Don't they analyze it? Then can't you just read it on the internet? Like, well, what does this score mean? What does that score mean? Video response. So Queendom's increased their analysis a bit. In the old days, you just got a number. I don't even think you got the Bell distribution chart. You had to look up the Z-scores to figure it out. I'm really smart. And so let's go through it. So your overall IQ score is 140, which is almost dead accurate to mine. I was always in the high 130s, low 140s. And that puts you in the, oh, really? That high? I thought it was like 1.5. Okay, that's in the top 0.4% of the population. And then what they did is they broke it down with crystallized intelligence and fluid intelligence, and then they further broke it down further than that. So the two breakdowns of intelligence is crystallized, where you got a 144, and then fluid, which you got a 135. And to not bore people with too much details, I think it is, hang on, let me think. The fluid is kind of like problem solving. All right. Where you got a problem you got to solve. And what the fluid intelligence measures is, can you come up and craft a solution? All right. So like if you're presented a math problem, well, that's not fluid intelligence, because you already know the math. You know the process of math. You see the plus sign. You had this trained into your brain. I see. Yeah, I'd carry the number. You're in other words, you're executing a formula, and crystallized intelligence would be knowing the formula. Fluid intelligence is you ain't got the formula, so you got to figure out and come up with a solution to this problem. And I think it was not Edison. Who was the guy that came up with calculus? Newton? Was it Newton? Newton was I'm pretty sure it was Newton. He was facing a math problem, but there was no mathematic studies or disciplines or formula that would answer it. So he created calculus. I believe that's what it was. Maybe it was Newton. That is fluid intelligence. Like, you don't have the tool, but can you craft the tool that will solve your problem? That's fluid. Crystallized is you know what to do. I don't even know if it's necessarily knowing trivia and facts, and I don't even know if that's even intelligence one. But crystallizes, you knew enough math, or you have enough programs to pull the right one and do this and solve that problem. What is mathematical, logical, or whatever else have you? And you got a 135 in that. Now your genius level, doesn't matter how they break that down. Thank God Queendom didn't put EQ in there, which is not a thing. EQ was created for stupid people to think they're smart. Yeah, I know you have a high IQ, but my EQ, according to the website that does the astrology and the tarot card sway, says I'm very emotionally intelligent. I am. Is that why you have 6 cats, a car that you can't repair, and a ton of student loan debt, and you cry yourself to sleep while drinking wine, and you're on Xanax? Yeah, high EQ there, baby. So thank God they haven't thrown that in. And then here are the sub scores. And this is on a scale of 1 to 100, not an IQ score. Your verbal is 81, and it says indicates the scope of the test taker's ability. Oh, it just describes it to understand the English language. Vocabulary 100, analogy 63, numerical, identifying and applying the proper mathematical techniques. So you got a perfect score there. Arithmetic 100%, graphs and charts 100%. So and this is the one thing. This is where I'm going to drop the bomb. I do not believe at all in the verbal and written tests, whether that's an IQ, the LSAT, the ACT, or whatever else. I don't think that really should be part of IQ. And the reason why is that it is amorphous, it's intangible. I'm sure they came up with objective ways to test your comprehension of a language, could be the English language. But the reason I think that should be it doesn't have anything to do with it. There's one huge variable, and that is we send every young person, at least here in the United States, through school. And this is always the case where you have a genuinely brilliant person who has to tolerate what? An English teacher. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Already school is bad enough. All right. Your geniuses don't get straight A's. The compliant, obedient kids get straight A's. Right? They can follow rules. The genius people's brains are so taxed and so pained, they shut down and go into like a they go into a ketosis, go into a coma. But the worst perpetrators of the boredom and the brain drain and the killing of the brain are English teachers. Why? Because by the time you're 5 years old, you already speak it. You intuitively know the language. And then do the dangling participles and the diagramming of the sentences. No. That's not intelligence. That's not smart. That has nothing to do with your ability to solve problems, right? That is, I don't know what English is. English teachers, I mean. Like, what, are you so bored? You got to teach a language the kids are already fluent in. I understand writing. You got to learn. You got to teach them to be literate. You got to teach them to read. But after the 3rd grade, get the F out of here. It's just a welfare jobs program for some of our dumbest people, and that's English teachers. And so what you're doing is you're trying to fit a whatever square block in a round hole. And that's what we're trying to do with intelligent people when you're trying to beat the ever-living crap out of them with verbal comprehension. Dude, he speaks English, he writes English, he reads English. He's just fine. And so I would absolutely not worry about the analogies, which is word problems, or verbal. What I would more be concerned about, like, is go and get tested for some kind of mental disorder. I don't mean like schizophrenia, although maybe that too, but more like dyslexia, right? Because if you have a problem with language, it's probably going to be more something wrong with your brain, not your intelligence just doesn't get English. You just don't understand English. No, English shouldn't even be part of this. Language shouldn't even be part of this. Can you solve problems? Yes or no? Then when it comes to verbal and reading comprehension, I think the brain, by the time you start giving at least American kids or adults verbal tests, reading comprehension tests, you trigger a part in their brain where they had to shut down, go into that coma or catonic state just to get by because their English teacher was such a worthless sack of crap that they're not even trying the best anymore. Their brain disengages, and now you're not measuring intelligence. You're measuring a brain. You're measuring a defense mechanism. Like, I can't tolerate this pain. I just can't tolerate it. And so what I think would be more important is like, okay, dyslexia. Oh, your brain. Okay, you're brilliant. Yeah, you got, but you don't read the words correctly. Something off with your vision. That might be biophysiological. What else? Writing. Oh man, I never scored well in writing. Never. But you know what made me a good writer? Writing, reading a ton of economic reports, just trying, but you throw me in the 4th grade. Oh, an adverb versus an adjective. I still don't know the difference. I know adverbs end with Y, L-Y, bigly. That's an adverb. I was going to say something about a teacher that involved the C word, but I can't say that. The teacher Kuantahali lectured Aaron about his non-participation and disinterest in the English language. See, that's an adverb. But your brain already learned all the rules and regulations of the language intuitively, so you don't. So I would absolutely throw out all verbal, all. And I would say if you have trouble comprehending verbal reading comprehension, that might be more mental, psychological, something with your actual physical brain. And I would say there's a correlation between picking up on that and social cues. Like all these people like, oh, all these IT guys, they just don't understand how to be social. There must be something wrong with their brains, or they didn't socialize, or they just never got out. I don't know what this has to do with language. And here you normie, conforming, inferior types come up with this test like, oh, you're not good at English. You're weird. You don't watch the sports ball and go to happy hour with it. You're just so weird. Okay, well, that might be true, but that has nothing to do with their intelligence. They're just not normal. They're not like boring like you people. Like, maybe they don't have a car loan, live in the McMansion in the suburbs. Oh no, you're not like the normal people. You must have a low IQ. No. That's a different thing you're trying to measure. It's a different thing. So I would absolutely not worry about your verbal or your analogies. I just wouldn't. What I'd be more concerned about is if you shut up and listen to the words coming out of people's mouths, right? And here's where like you super intelligent geniuses, it's a choice. It's a choice. Okay. Unless you have a genuine mental problem. I wouldn't say illness, but problem. You just got to get out. You just got to shut up. You just got to watch people. Just got to talk to people. Watch a lot of movies. Right. And then if you wanted to, I guarantee you, like, okay, there's a verbal problem. And I explained to you, okay, yeah, see, in the language, I know you first don't have your brain shut off. We're during this word problem. All right. Just look for the key nouns and the facts and turn it into a math problem. And you'll do that. And then you'll get a better score. But do you really need that? Like if you had to, you could do it. But otherwise, I don't know what to do, but if they're testing like, oh, what's the active participle? F if I know, lady. I also don't know equally worthless trivia like, what's the name of the person on the Squid Game? That's about as important. So, so I don't know. You could join Mensa if you wanted. I would also strongly recommend you get Curse of the High IQ because now removing everything else I just said, introducing a third concept here, you're so freakishly intelligent that you're not going to be able to associate with most people. You're literally, it is almost like trying to hang out with it. Well, it is. If you got an IQ of 140, that's almost 3 standard deviations above the norm. To give you an equivalent, that's like someone who's normal intelligence dealing with someone with an IQ of 60, which is someone who I don't think at 60 you can wipe your own ass. I'm being that like you cannot function in society. I think 85 is the official cutoff point for mental retardation because we can't say it now because we keep changing what's offensive. Is mongoloid? Are we going to go full circle back to mongoloid? See, the irony, that was the truly insulting slur back in the day. But how much you want to bet that's not going to be picked up because it's like that's not the current zeitgeist. That's not what's edgy. That's not how people virtue signal. Anyway, that's a normal person trying to deal with someone who can't wipe their own ass. That's how much more intelligent than you are. So you're going to have trouble associating with the vast majority of the population. So I'd strongly recommend you or anybody else that happens to have this high IQ, or you seem like you're not being able to interact with people. It's not because you don't have reading comprehension. It's because you're a freaking genius and everybody is a true moron compared to you. And so you're just not going to be able to relate. It doesn't mean you're mentally ill. It doesn't mean you have dyslexia. It doesn't mean your EQ is off. It just means you're not popular doing what normies do, which is, I don't know, waste their lives as far as I've been able to consider. So the link to the Curse of the High IQ below. Let's go through the super chats. Thank you, Fearless Trader. It was Newton. Thank you. I thought I was like, it wasn't Newton. Our future MD, one new guy, $10. I'm 36, sitting on 140, sitting at 146. Makes it difficult to talk to people and interact. Oh, I know, man. I mean, I'm not at your level, but I mean, close. I'm in the neighborhood. I'm on the poorer side of your neighborhood. I just can't. Like, I always thought there was something wrong with me because I didn't like going to nightclubs. I didn't like going to sports ball. I thought, like, what's wrong? Why is everyone? And it's like, oh yeah, this is truly stupid stuff. This is not mentally stimulating. Oh, did you watch? I don't know. I'm trying to think. Did you watch whatever show you're supposed to be watching? Why? I'd rather listen to Welt guys do Schopenhauer stuff. Or I go for so much other stuff I'd rather do. I'll give you another example. Like, I'd rather listen to TFM, even though I disagree with him probably more than any other podcaster. I mean, he's spot on about his economics and his politics, but the analysis is super brilliant. It's like, that's very entertaining. Hey, but people love their Big Macs, and their fries. Literally, I have to make it a game of how much I can ape dude bro behavior. Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. Hey, what's up, bro? Yeah, man. How about the game? Where was I? Oh, I was golfing. And here's the two old guys. I'm always the youngest. And here's the two old guys. Hey, you see John Johnson, whoever yeah, man, because I think he was wearing a hat that had it was of a team. Hey, hat, indicating he knows. Man, he threw for some yardage, or he hit the ball, something. Yeah, but this season, and then once I heard season, I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah, there goes there's a conversation I'm not paying attention to. That guy that you're not related to, who no matter what he does, doesn't have an effect on your life or anybody else's. Yes, I'm not going to pay attention to that. How do you do it? How would you fake that? It'd be like me faking someone who's fat and can't hike. I wouldn't be able to do it for long. The Black Blur, $10. Cappy, where do I go to get my IQ test? Preferably online and free. Queendom.com. Go there. I want to see if I could score close to 110. No. Blackberry, you're going to score what you're going to score, man. Now, I advocate trying your best. Brush up. All right? Brush up on your old math. Do some exercises. Take a couple fake IQ tests so you understand, like, oh, that's what it's doing, spatial recognition. I see, because I think the Queendom one is timed. One time I got like an IQ of 80 because I thought I had I went to the bathroom, came back, and it was over. I'm like, what? You're a complete moron. So don't spend the time like, okay, what are they asking me here again? Like, oh, I see what they're doing. So take some like sample tests. Like, what does an IQ test consist of? Oh, I see what they're saying here. So you're not refiguring things out. Brush up on it and then take it. And that'll be your effective IQ. But and that's one thing. Don't worry if you got a low IQ, you got a low IQ. That's like complaining that you got brown eyes. Like, yeah, it's complaining that you're short. It is what it is. It's not, you don't control it. I will say you can increase your IQ like through brain practice and studying hard. But there's this core ability, like training, like, well, you can get your bench press up, but there's a limit what your body's going to be able to do. So don't get upset. Not like I'm going to change my major from computer engineering, but since I'm halfway done. Well, if you're halfway done and you're doing it, you're probably in the 130s. But let's say you were in the 110s. Oh my God, are you getting A's? Well, then you must have some other ability or skill that is not measured in IQ that allows you to be a very good computer engineer. I should take my EQ test. Oh my God, you're such a naughty person. Hat and Clogs, $2. Good morning, Cappy. You missed some super chats. No, I didn't. I went through Hat and Clogs. Go watch the next video. I got them all. I went on the super chat on my YouTube. I looked it up. I didn't miss them. You missed me where I answered them. We already had that one. I'll double check. Hang on. I'll go right here. Unless YouTube has changed things now. The Black Blur, 36, 46. Rest in peace, Fred. Next time you're high, you try not give it. Yeah, that was from the last one. I didn't miss anything, Hat. I didn't miss anything. All right. So there you go. Not the Book of Numbers. Curse of the High IQ. Link down below for all you smart people. Don't live life frustrated with the normies. Just accept they're just cute little. Oh, look at the normal people. Yeah, the guy threw the ball good. Ooh, I'm going to get my MBA. I did watch the show that everybody watched and also agreed it was a good show. I liked the thing that everybody liked and disliked the things that no one liked. I am for Ukraine. Putin bad. Look at me do the thing everyone is doing. I are so popular. Yeah, I just, you're all so cute. All right, we'll see you guys later. Toodles.